Please make very welcome, Graham. I was standing at the counter of my local corner shop when I realised that I had made the worst mistake of my life. Now, I was only 8 years old, so I really didn't know how big a mistake it could be, but I was mortified. You see, what had happened was I'd forgotten that there's a rule of consumerism that caveat emptor. I didn't know it at the time, but buyer beware. You see, this is 1966, the 14th of February 1966. I know that date specifically because it was A, less than 2 weeks after my 8th birthday, and B, because, well, anybody of a certain age will know what I mean when I say 14th of February 1966. It was the day that decimal currency was being introduced into Australia. Now, I know that there are a lot of people here who are too young to remember pre-decimal currency. All I need to tell you is that there used to be 12 pennies in a shilling, but that became 10 cents in the new money. And what that meant was that 1 cent was equal to 1 penny. 2 pennies was worth 2 cents. But here's where it gets sticky. 3 pennies was still only worth 2 cents. 4 pennies, 3 pence, 5 pennies, 4 pence, 5 pennies, 4 cents, and then 6 pence became 5 cents. Not all that important, except for this. It was the 14th of February 1966, and I had this dirty old threepenny piece. 3 pence was what I used to get given to buy some lollies on the way to school, or something along those lines. Now, they're dingy little coins. If I remember correctly, the threepence back in the 1960s had sort of a sheath of wheat and a ribbon wrapped around them. No, not very exciting, but the brand new 2 cent coin, which was only introduced, as I say, on the 14th of February 1966, it was bright, and it was shiny, and it was new, and it had a frill-necked lizard on it. And I was excited. And I thought, I'm going to get me one of these brand new 2 cent pieces. So I walked into my local corner shop, and I handed over my threepence and said, can I get one of these new 2 cent pieces, please? And she said, yes, here it is, and handed me this bright, shiny new 2 cent piece. Never seen before because this was the first day of their use. And I looked at it, it was very pretty, it was very shiny, and it had a frill-necked lizard. Then I thought, cool, okay. Well, can I get 3 coppers, please? Because 3 coppers would have cost me threepence. But she said, no, you've only got 2 cents. But I said, but I gave you threepence a moment ago. That was 3 coppers. Yes, but you only have 2 cents now. As I say, I learned a lesson that day. Let the buyer beware. So, disconsolate, I wandered outside. And I looked around. And then I saw Gary Martin. Now, I wasn't the brightest 8-year-old in the world, but I was a genius by comparison to Gary. Gary was, well, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, not the brightest bulb in the, anyway, he was Gary. And I said, hey Gary, look what I've got. He said, what's that? I said, this is one of those new 2 cent pieces. And he said, I haven't seen those before. No, of course you haven't, they've only come out today. He said, oh, can I have it? I said, I'll sell it to you for threepence. I learned a second lesson that day. There's one born every minute. Let's go forward a few years from then. About 6 years, in fact. I'm 14 years old, and I shouldn't, but I was a smoker. My mother used to give me 40 cents to go to school and buy a pie and a soft drink. You could get a pie and a soft drink for 40 cents. Can you imagine that? But what else you could buy for 40 cents was a packet of Peter Jacksons and a box of matches. 20 cigarettes, box of matches, 40 cents, pie, soft drink, 40 cents. I had a mate, Ron Dickman. Ron's mum must have thought he had the world's biggest tapeworm, because there is absolutely no way even a 14-year-old boy could possibly eat as much food as Ron did at lunchtime. That's because Ron would bring along enough lunch for himself and for me, in return for which I would give him 5 of these 20 cigarettes that I would get with my 40 cents that Mum had given me for lunch. So, he came out okay, he got 5 cigarettes and gave away half his lunch. I came out okay because I got a packet of cigarettes which I got to smoke 15 of during the day, and lunch as well, and nobody was ever the wiser. Well, I think my mum probably was. I used to think, oh, she's a smoker, she'll never tell that I can smoke. Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. But the point, I tell you this for a reason. That 8-year-old who was mortified but then who suckered one of his mates was crafty. That 14-year-old who used to take the money he was given for lunch and buy a packet of cigarettes and give away 5 of them but also get lunch anyway, he was crafty. I told my wife about these stories when we first met. I don't know whether I was trying to show off or maybe I was trying to do a mea culpa. I'm really not sure. All I know is that she just shakes her head and wonders, whatever happened to that crafty young bloke that she first met? Well, I don't know about being crafty, but I do know that I am really lucky because I managed to get her, and that's the best craft I've ever had.